Three.
Hi, Jesse. It's so good to see you again.
Amazing. Yeah, we've been not connected in a while, but it's great always to meet with you and talk about things in life. You are such an amazing person, and you bring joy to my life and my day when we connect.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, one of the things I love is that we're both really focused on healing and the healing journey, which is not, it's not like a fairy walks in and bops you on the head and you're magically healed. But it's an ongoing process and a journey. And
Mhm.
um, from the time I met you, you have been working with people about how they can use food and how they eat to take better care of themselves. And so when I saw you were doing the mindful challenge, I really wanted to talk to you about that because a lot of the work I do with balancing the mind and the body, and also what I call at ease, which is Alexander Technique ease, is about being aware throughout the day in the simplest things we do. And also being aware around habitual things we do. And eating, man, eating is there all the time. If we don't eat, we don't live. And and so then there can be many habits about eating. So maybe just give us a quick overview of your move into this area of helping people because I know you have really healed yourself and so just share a little bit about that and what brought you to the idea of mindful eating.
Hmm. So I'm an engineer by profession, and we like to get things done fast, fast, fast. Everybody demands and everything, and by nature, everything is fast for me. I do talk fast, I eat fast, walk fast. So when I was having health issues, I mean, I had asthma from childhood. That is around 52 years I suffered. Now I'm 60. So I had freedom for some time. That is amazing. And then I ended up having type 2 diabetes with my first pregnancy. And that put me into like 17 years of suffering. And then everything started going wacky and, going upward. Like, couldn't get it under control. It was like a situation where I was struggling emotionally, a lot of things, family, work, everything was like nothing was working in favor of me. Kind of like, life just sometimes goes smoothly and sometimes it just falls apart, right? That was where I was. So that time, I started praying, and God told me I need to calm down and I need to be scaring me more than anything else so that I can be purposeful and helping others. But if I'm not well, I cannot help others, right? So
Absolutely.
I took that and started working on me. But of course, I told my family, I'm going to make changes. I will also support your support. Again, I'm talking too fast. Sorry. I'm intentionally trying to improve every day. It is not like one time thing. Like our habits always pops up, right? Like
Right.
talking fast, eating fast. So even my children would, if I eat fast in front of them, they would poke at me saying, Mama, are you eating mindfully? Slow down, put the fork down. So we need that continuous, acknowledgement and knowing that when we are not following what we need to do, to somebody to remind you, and accountability is so much important. But this process has helped me. That's the first step that I learned to do. First step. In everything, we need to have a starting point, right? But
Right.
this first step helped me improve my life and continue making progress. So when I started doing this, I was first was like weight loss and A1C going below diabetic. Those were my best markers to continue doing this. So when the doctors told me, that I'm doing good and my A1C is below the diabetic range, I was in like cloud nine. I wanted to not to stop doing what I was doing, and everybody supported me. My family, everybody was supportive. So I used to get more time for myself, right?
It's
So that
it's hard too when you're a mom and you're working and your kids are in school. It's hard to say I can slow down and take
that's
care of myself.
that's right. So then, fast forward in a year and a half, I felt I didn't need inhalers anymore. And the most amazing thing happened is I could go hiking with my family
Ah,
because we love that. And I was never able to do it because of my asthma. I would pant, I have to stop while everybody is like, keep going.
running up the hill,
Yeah.
right?
But now, yeah, sometimes I pant still, but I can keep up with them. So that's something that we as a family enjoyed, and now I can do without having issues. So some of the things that improved is that one is that, and then now I have energy. I don't crash. I don't need to sleep like 9 hours or 10 hours. I don't need to. When I sit on the couch, I don't fall asleep. Before I would fall asleep. When I
Ah,
had edema, my feet was always swollen when I came home from work. I kind of felt weird, like I'm not that old. Why am
right.
I having, all these things on my, but that got healed. And then it was acid reflux, that's gone. High blood pressure, I was on medication for high blood pressure, that's gone. So
Right.
such progress that it showed me that I can do it. And I have to start somewhere. That's where I started. So I like to share with everyone where to start. It's not about just about the food we eat, it's about how we eat and helps us nourish our body better. Knowing that, and if you eat too fast and like that, it just goes through your system. You're not going to
The
get the
nutrients.
benefit and nutrition from the food. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, I know for myself. I have what do I want to call them? I call them fences, right? When I come up to the fence, uh, like I have one place where I work, and it's kind of stressful. And then I took a break. So, phew, I took a break. I didn't go there for a while, and I realized that I was stopping on the way to the office to get a fancy coffee, which has way too many calories than you need, or a cookie, or there's a really good thing that they make at Baskin Robbins that no one ever needs to know about, but it's so good. Or get one of those, which was coffee and ice cream together. Oh my gosh. But because this place was emotionally stressful, now this is also weird, is that actually sugar gives me energy, but it also calms me down. So that was something I had to notice. So that when I get stressed, I want something sweet because then my stress level goes down a little bit. Not necessarily my body stress, but my brain stress. And I gave myself a reward, which is usually sweet. And so all of this stuff that I figured out goes into awareness. And then I can choose, which for me is the mindful part, is choosing. And so the main thing I chose is not to go so often to a stressful place. I have that ability to make that choice. If your job is stressful and you have to go every day, then you have different choices to make. Uh, take healthy snacks or something. But but then I would notice I would drive down this one street where all the places were to stop to get snacks that I didn't need. Uh, and and I would have to like, no, I'm not going there. No, I'm not going there. Well, there's another street. So now I just drive down the other street. And then I don't see all the places where I could fall into my old habit. So, do you find when you do your mindful eating practice for yourself, because I know that you teach what you do, that you don't have a great idea that you expect everyone to follow because you said so. You you teach from experience, and you say this is what worked for me, and I want to share it with you in case it works for you, which I think is the best way. And then people can choose, you know.
Yeah. First of all, I wanted to say the word you said, choose, is so important. We get to choose every day what we want to do. God gave us this day as a clean slate in front of us, and we get to choose what we want to do. And also, I wanted to say, I felt the same way like when I was working. I would hide snacks in my drawer, M&M, and so I can just munch on it in between. And so that's how I felt, and I found from my clients also this is something they also do. But they they could choose and they could change and they have changed. So this is possible.
So every what we talked about before we went live, we or went on camera, we talked about the holidays.
Yeah.
And the holidays, which is why you pick now for people to get back into a little bit more mindful eating, to get back into health after the holidays. Partly, I call them days, DAZE,
Ah, I like that.
because there's all this stuff around you and it sort of absorbs your energy and your attention. And if you get sucked into it, which is for me what sort of happens is an energy of being sucked into something, you can forget your regular practice, and then you have visitors or you're visiting somewhere, and so your normal start to the day might be different. You know, and to be aware of the changes. What I really like about your approach is that you're often talking about not doing heavy duty denial, not making yourself feel what do I want to say, boxed in, like I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't do this, I can't do that. All of those things that cause me to rebel. So, how did you start? I mean, you told me you had just recently, since the holidays, lost a couple of pounds. So what did you do that
So holidays, like you said, I'm in the same boat. I now have even grandbabies. So we have, a lot of people come home. We also do a service, like a ministry where we invite students. I live in a college town. So it's always cooking and always giving food to others. And they come home and sometimes people bring stuff, even though I say don't bring anything. And those kind of things, kind of USA has almost every month there is a holiday. We never have a break from sugar holidays in USA.
I think you're right.
So, so how can we make this work? First of all, it has to come from our mind, our mindset. Like you, first word we used is choose. We get to choose what we want to do. We have to affirm that we are choosing what we wanted to do. So the holidays, of course, I chose to give in because I had to keep cooking and giving things. I had to taste them. Even though I made healthier version of things, I ate too much because I was not eating mindfully. But the food was all good and, healthy, nutritious because I cook yummy food that is, you know, more palatable. So eat more.
Well,
So
and your
the
recipes are great. When you send
yeah.
out the recipes, I love those.
So what I decided is again, I keep reminding me every day is a new slate. How can I choose to be more authentic and more to myself that is serving me rather than just yielding to, oh, eat more, others say. And my son always says, don't say eat more or eat in front of my kids because I don't want to put insecurity. Okay, so I have to be mindful
Right.
now, not to tell, because as a mom, I used to always tell, eat, I want kids to grow, right? But now I have to pull back and think again mindfully, not to talk like that in front of, babies. So they don't feel anything that they have to clean the plate or anything like that. So in the holiday season, like I said, I gained a few pounds, but I had to. reframe my thinking and get back to my own feelings. So I said, holidays happen. Why do I have to yield to it, right? I can do what is important to me and stay focused on my goals. I don't need to yield to the holiday. Holiday just happen, irrespective of whether I'm here or not. Why,
Right.
why, why to follow that? So that was one of my thinking that I made the choice to not to give into that and just follow what is important to me and my health. And that's helping me to come back to this mindfulness practice again. So I decided usually people fall off the wagon after January. They don't, they cannot keep up with the gym membership and, exercise and eating and all the plans they've made up. Life happens. We have New Year celebration and all the things happen. And now we are into February with soon it will be Valentine's Day and all the sweets again. And then, then comes Easter. We keep going, you know. So that's the reason I started. And for me, it was just coming back to myself and saying, just eat mindfully and feel your fullness before you put another bite into your mouth. So that kind of helped me not being mindless eater. Usually, if you have TV on or if any phone or anything in front of me, we will be paying attention to that, not the food. We know that. We know where mouth is. We know where plate is. So we'll
Mhm.
just do like that and no pay attention to our food. We rather pay attention to telephone and TV or what's more interesting to pleasing to our eyes rather than what is pleasing to thinking about nutrition. So that happens often. So we do not eat with TV on as a family, usually, or most of the time. But when kids come home, everybody comes home, we have to work around everybody's schedule and everybody's desire. So sometimes I fall in for their wanting to watch a TV show, like some funny show or something we put in that everybody can watch and eat at the same time. But I'm not saying that's bad, but see how often you want to do it, right? But if it's only once in a while, it's okay. You can get back to your routine after they leave. So that's part of mindless eating. Even I have done like that. Uh, taking more food is like, I can eat more food even though I'm not hungry. But knowing my hunger cues helped me to stop.
Well,
And
see, I was
sometimes,
thinking when you were talking about that, how it was. Well, have another helping, have some more of this. I
that's
mean, it's
right.
part of it is the host or hostess wants to feel generous,
You're
you know,
right.
but also historically, there were a lot of times in history where there was not enough food, and so even this is interesting. My great aunt, she was born in 1902. And when I first started working on nutrition and stuff like in the 80s, I went and talked to her about how they ate as kids and growing up, and they lived through the Depression. And she told me, her mother gardened, and so they always had fresh produce in the summer, and they had all the root vegetables stored in the basement in the winter, and her mom canned, and so they had she said she felt like they had a wider variety of foods than a lot of people at that time. But she also told me that there were two boys and two girls. And when they would eat, everybody would eat their first plate. And if there was any food left over, it went to the boys and her father. And then if there was anything left, the girls could have a second helping. But the, and I think that this was just habit. Partly they had lost a baby in the family when he was young. The boys, yeah, the boys are not, they all tell you they are not quite as strong when they're growing up. But also, they're the ones who go out at that time. They went out and worked and they had to work hard. And so you had to fuel that. So whether we think about it or not, we have a lot of these historical things uh, mm, left like left over behind us And well, and I remember you said one time earlier when we talked that you when you came to the US, there was just so much sugar available that hadn't been part of your life before you came here. And I mean, and seeing at the grocery store, I just don't even go down the aisle where they have the candy. I just don't walk down it, you know. And one of my favorite grocery stores, they did this terrible thing where they took out the center aisles of food and they have candy on both sides and candy in the middle. And I'm like, I actually went to the customer service thing and said, "What the heck are you doing? This is not food, like have a candy section, but not the
Inside.
center of the
Mhm.
grocery store." And they were like, "Oh, like they hadn't even noticed." So I also think one of the things about a challenge that like you're going to do is the support. Like you said, you told your family you were going to eat differently and you needed their support. And I think that having other people who are starting to be aware, um, I- mostly I shop the outside edge of my grocery store. And I think another class I took with you one time where you talked about that. You just don't go where the bad stuff is. You don't go down the soda aisle. You don't go down the candy aisle. All the fresh produce is one place, all the dairy is another place, the protein is another place, and you can get out of the store really fast that way.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah. So like, I just was thinking about what you said. We used to say we are kids' trash can
Oh,
because when kids don't finish anything, me and husband used to clean up their plate. Because we grew up in India a long time ago, right? We had a lack of food. Like we didn't have abundance. So we never wasted food. So wasting food is like wasting money for us. That's how we think. But the kids don't think that way. Now, new generation won't think that. They are very happy to just throw the whole pot of whatever they made if they don't like it into the trash. Or
right,
if it's like 1 day old, they just put it in the trash. They don't have any problem because they don't think that way. But
right.
our mind was like conditioned the other way, like you said. So we even now, like, we have that mentality of I made like such a great food and I purchased like yummy things. Meat is so expensive, right? Things like that. If I made something, I don't like them throwing away, still.
No, I
Because
almost never throw anything away. I
yeah,
serve it another day. Now, my husband will eat leftovers. I have
yeah,
friends and they say, well, my husband won't eat leftovers.
yeah,
And I'm
we
like, well,
do.
don't tell
We
him it's leftover.
Yeah, don't use the word. I don't like use the word leftover because I do meal planning. So I cook. When I cook, I portion and keep it. That means it is not leftover. It's made for our life. It's made for
Made
our
for a
next
couple of days
couple
so
of
that you
days,
don't
few
have
days.
to cook every day,
Yeah,
which
so
is
it's not a leftover. I don't use that word. But if you go to the restaurant and you bag the leftover food, that is leftover. I don't mind calling it. But when I cook something, I don't like to use the word leftover. It's my food that I made for the next few days and for my lunch and for my dinner. It's not leftover. It's
well, see,
planned way of cooking.
and it's a piece of mindfulness to look at the words, to see what word, even for me to say, if I say I can't have that, I feel different than I say, well, I remember when I really liked that, but today I'm not going to have it. And
Yeah,
it's just today. And I don't have to say I'm not ever going to have it again in the future. I'm just not going to have it today.
that's right.
And that for me keeps me right here, right now. What is my choice for today that makes me healthier? And when you were talking about that, I about finishing the plate, my mom told me that long, long ago. Okay, so I was a dancer, and so then I had to try and be skinny, and oh my God, the yeah, never mind. That was a long time, and it was a history. But she would always say, don't eat the last bite. Don't eat, and don't eat anything that's left on the plate. You know, Well, my grandma used to put everything in the freezer, like in the pot. If there was a tablespoon of green beans, that would go into the container for vegetable soup. a little bit of meat, not enough meat for anything else, right? Two bites. It went into the soup container. It stayed in the freezer. When it was full enough, then she would, get a chicken or she would get some roast beef and she would make a whole big soup and it was always so good and never the same because she never had all the same things. But but that was partly no waste, right? You were talking about waste and that young people don't even, they eat half of a meal and
Throw it
they
away.
don't think anything about it. Well, my grandma was trying to feed a family during the Depression, and there was like no waste.
Yeah.
But eating too much is wasteful. You know, that was a change in my thinking. If I'm not hungry and I eat more, my body has to process it and store it. That's extra work. If I eat just enough, like Goldilocks, it's just right.
You're right. I like that, how you said our body needs to store it, right? That's what happening, but people don't understand that. The more you eat, the body has to process it and then has to expend more energy to store the food that it doesn't need anymore, right? So that's how we gain weight. So overeating is part of our life that we can focus on mindfulness and slow down. So I know you work with mind body connection. So you know it. And I also learn, I study a lot. I study research people who are doing these things so I can understand the nuances and how people think. There is scientific proof about the mind body connection and how people eat. And there was like a experiment that one of this schools like Harvard or something did for with kids, asking them about delayed gratitude. So they gave them some yummy food they like young kids, right? Cookies and marshmallows. And they told gave them one and they told them, if you wait for 5 minutes without eating, we'll give you one more. I wanted to see how kids would do it. Some kids munched, some kids ate. Well, I said, I don't need to wait. I can just enjoy it now. And some kids really waited. So those are the kids that got more reward. Like, same approach, like you said, I don't need to eat now. I can eat later. That at least moves a little further away the desire. That is so awesome that we can do that. We get to choose to do that. That we are in control of what goes into our mouth. It's not like then we are not babies. We're fed by somebody else. So we are adults and we can decide what to do. One of the principles that I teach is events plus response equals outcome. So event happens, whatever, like food coming in front of you, like holidays and all those things, and food being there, right? We put it there too. Response, how we respond to it gives us the best outcome. So if we respond saying, okay, I'll just give in this time, then we're yielding to our desire of eating, and the outcome is blood sugar rise, crash, sleep, not doing the things that would be more beneficial for us. So then if we sleep off, then we are wasting our time, right? We don't have the time that time doesn't wait for us. It's one of the non-renewable source of in the world is time. Time doesn't stay for anybody, time goes away. So we cannot get that time back. So how can we better use this techniques that we already know? It's natural. It is nothing to bring from externally. It's just about in this fast-paced world, how you can slow down. It helps us not just food-wise, it improves the relationship with food and body and our mind, but it helps us to think how we talk, how we act, gives a better perspective of life, enjoying life better. Yeah.
I like to slow down when I cook too,
Yeah,
so that I didn't cook rushing into my food.
that's right. It's a
And
process.
that's important too, a process. And you start right where you are today. Who cares about what happened before? We don't need to beat ourselves up about what happened before. We start right here, right now. What can I choose today to be happier, healthier, more aware of what I'm doing in the moment? And then happier, healthier. Let's see what else. Then we go forward. Each day is another step. And it's not like if I eat mindfully today, I'm done and I have fixed it. I have to choose to pay attention every day, every meal. So you're going to do a 5 day challenge on
Yeah.
mindful eating. What are you? So 5 meetings and
Yeah. So what I am planning to do is record 5 videos with one small step to do in the morning. Okay. Then in the evening, we meet on Zoom. So people can ask me questions and talk to me about what they felt, how they felt while following the step, and then how I can support them, to improve their mental thinking and how what is going on. So morning is all just sending an email out and have a video for them to watch. Everything is like very short. 1% of a day is only 14 minutes, around 15 minutes, 1% of a day. So we don't even have that much time we are using, except for for practicing this. Evening, it's up to you, how much time you want to spend talking to me. I have blocked 1 hour if for asking any 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, if anybody has questions or anything to ask me. So I will be here to support and to provide. And about challenges are always good because I still remember my daughter, I am a coffee addict. And my daughter told me, Mom, I challenge you not to drink a coffee for um 30 days or something, or 7 days. I don't remember. Anyway, I said, okay, I'm up for a challenge. And I did not touch coffee for whatever days she was, it was some time ago. So since then, I I challenge myself to do something special, like usually Easter time. So something I really love and enjoy that I cherish it so much. If I get rid of it for a short while, I know I can do it. So last year I got rid of some nuts. This year I'm getting rid of all nuts till Easter. And I mean, how, then I'll cherish it more and enjoy it more and be more appreciative. Maybe like getting rid of coffee for a week or 5 days, something one day at a time, that's what I say. Try one day. And next day tell yourself you did it, you can do it one more time. And next day say, oh, you did for 2 days, you're awesome. You can do it one more day. Yeah. So that's the way it works. Many of us struggle with not drinking enough water, not, being addicted to some food that we love. So that is a place where we can challenge ourselves to do something that's different, or challenge yourself to do, like now for me, it's winter and we are in an igloo, I say, because I cannot walk outside because there is no walkway, all covered with ice, and we are be
right.
skating if I go. So intentionally, I have to do my steps. But my goal is 3 million steps this year. So intentionally, I have to do every day, so that I can keep up with my desire to do that. So every hour, I make sure at least 5 minutes I do something. And by the end of the day, I have minimum of 7,000 steps. So, but it is intentionally, I have to do it. Otherwise, I cannot make 7,000 steps in last 5 minutes of the day, right? So, and it's going to be tiring. And, so I start early morning. Yeah. And make every hour, make sure I have 5 minutes of something that gives me steps and, keep going. So that's how everything works in life, right? We first need to have a desire. So I believe I'm so grateful for all the people joined. So many people joined, which was more than I expected. I thank God for it. I prayed, and today's my goal is to pray each and every person who signed up. So I'll write their name and I submit to God them, each one of them, and pray that they get some benefit from joining the challenge. So that's my goal today. So I'll do that. But it is amazing to see how things improve when we have the desire and we take that small step. Progress over perfection. That's what I say. Just small step. And then we can, we have to look at it and say we did it, and then we can do a little more of that.
Well, and everything, the steps add up. You know, I can't get to the mailbox unless I put one foot in front of the other. And and the same is true with my work. You know, when you start to give yourself permission to make a choice, then the next time you have a choice, it's easier one to realize realize you have a choice and to take the time to make a choice. Then the next step is not beat yourself up. So if I decide that I'm going to have a cookie in the middle of the afternoon, that was a choice and a decision. If I decide to only eat half the cookie, that's a different choice and a decision. But like you said, in terms of mindfulness, what are we telling ourselves about food? You know, are we saying I don't like healthy food, or the deprivation thing, I can never eat a cookie again? Oh, that's sad. Um, or are we just saying I'm just not going to have a cookie right now, just right now?
Yeah, I know. That's the best thing. And think about, we have such a wealth of resources to create swaps. Like if you like a cookie, you can make a healthier version of it. There are so many choices and options, in our world now, that we can create the life we want. It's not like years ago when we only knew few things. Like, I only knew what my mom cooked, nothing else. That's a traditional. Everybody eats in India a few dishes in our area. That's all we cooked. But now the options are like abundant, right? Can make so many things healthier, easier, faster. Yeah, so much. So those are the things we will cover in the challenge. How to be more creative, how to make things work for you rather than just saying it's happening to me. Like we can figure out how we can make it happen for us.
That sounds beautiful, Jesse.
Yeah.
So we will have in the description from the video how to sign up for the challenge for anybody who wants to do that. And it is free, which is awesome. And I love the idea of little bitty steps that stack up to a big change. So thank you so much for making that available to people. And also thank you for just sharing your joy with the world. I always enjoy seeing you. So
Me too. Thank you for connecting, and
yeah, maybe we'll do it more often, figure out a way to do it more often.
that's right.
So
Okay.
take care.
Okay.